speaking of biggest games of the season, we got Nuggets and Wolves. So Nuggets off of a loss. Never a good time to fade the Denver Nuggets, who are absolutely phenomenal when they are off of a loss. They're at home. You never want to bet against them at home. They've been so good at home throughout the last 2 seasons, especially when they have Joker. The number 6.5. This is entirely based off of I got to see what the injury report looks like pregame. So this is not, I'm not playing anything before we get to tip off, essentially, because it's probably going to be a game time decision for some of these guys. Jamal Murray, I talked about this on the our live show. I'll say it again for the podcast. Jamal Murray went through his entire warm up. He went through on Wednesday versus the Suns. So he went through his entire warm up. He's got a sleeve on the knee. I would not be surprised if he played this game, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he missed it, because they are having to be extremely cautious. The Nuggets all said that their number one priority is they got to get healthy. And here's a big number for you. The Denver Nuggets are 6-8 straight up when any of their starters are out. 6-8 straight up when any of their starters are out. They have to have the starting five. Now, that's versus teams over 500. So I want to be clear. I think that's an important stipulation here.
Yes.
Is they're fine. They can beat the Grizzlies and the Blazers and the Wizards and all those teams when the guys are out. To beat the good teams, they got to have the five, because it's how those five play together. Rudy Gobert's questionable. Towns is obviously out. Ant's actually questionable with this one as well. If Ant's out, not playing it. If Gobert's out, I'm not playing it. If Ant and Gobert are good to go and they play in this game, I will take the Minnesota Timberwolves. They match up well with Denver. Denver has said this before, that they have talked about. And it's really been like an entire thing for them that I think is really, I think it's important for us to mention that the Nuggets consistently say the Wolves are the toughest matchup for them. I like the matchup. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, if Jamal plays, Nickeil Alexander-Walker gives Jamal Murray a tough time. Jaden McDaniel gives Jamal Murray a tough time. They have the size, which Aaron Gordon is a little beat up already. Having to go against Gobert down low in stagger minutes, that's how Denver's like, that's their not cheat code, but when they're very serious, they play AG at 5. I don't think they're going to do that in this game, which means it's going to be Zeke Naji, or if he's back, which he's still out with an injury, or DeAndre Jordan. Or they had to go to Peyton Watson the other night at 5. Yeah. No. So
yeah.
I need the injury clean, but I do think that there is I will say, I will not just take the 6.5. I'll probably play money line too. I think there's a very good chance the Minnesota Timberwolves actually beat the Denver Nuggets in Denver for 2 straight losses at home. For this to be, they will have lost to the Mavericks, the Suns, and the Wolves at home here late in the season. That doesn't mean I don't think the Nuggets are going to win the title, but I do think that the Wolves are live tomorrow night versus the Nuggets.
Let me ask you this. How important is the 1 to Denver from you being around the squad and asking around? How important is that 1 seed? It seems like it's kind of important. They want it, it seems like to me.
I think it was really important until Wednesday. And the reason I say that is I think they genuinely thought that they could get rest, get healthy, and win it.
Right.
Because they staggered, they rested 2 starters. They rested Jamal and Nikola versus the Blazers. And then they rested Aaron and Jamal. Jamal's genuinely hurt. He's having injury issues. But Jamal was out. Aaron was out on Monday. And so like they're trying to basically do both, and you can't. Like this is the thing that you do have to choose. You can push and get the 1 seed, but that means you don't get the rest you want. Or you can back off. You can back off and you can get your guys. You can be like, look, we're going to give AG 5 days off. We're going to give Joker 3 days. Like Joker's fine because he's a tank, but we're going to give KCP 3 days off. You can do that, but it lowers your win percentage. They have some games they can probably they might be able to still win, right? Like, because they beat the Blazers and they beat the Grizzlies when they were missing guys. It's not like they'll beat like San Antonio. They play, I think, twice. They won't automatically beat San Antonio if they're resting guys. They just, it lowers the percentage chance. Like they might get caught. I do think though that there was a shift the other night from their comments about we'd love to get the 1 seed, but we got to be healthy.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's gonna guide them. I think part of them really thought that a 12 and that a 15-2 run post All-Star would have put these teams in the rear view.
Right.
And it didn't. That OKC, even though they slid a little bit, is right there. And the Wolves without Towns are just not fucking going away.
No doubt.
And that to me, I think is part of the guiding principle here.
What's something interesting is, as you just heard, everybody listening, watching, that Matt laid out, depending on the injury report, he likes Minnesota in that spot, potentially on the money line. Well, right now you can get, there's a number in the market for Minnesota Timberwolves to get the 1 seed in the West at plus 400. The Denver Nuggets are minus 245.
Yeah, they're overvalued.
If the Timberwolves get that win tomorrow night, that number will change significantly. Just something to keep in mind if you're looking at future markets and potentially tying something up for tomorrow night.